So we continue our quest through history in 1994. We pick up at 1994. In the 1970s we had Lean, and in 1994 we have Scrum. Jeff Sutherland, together with Ken Schwaber, invents Scrum. They come up with a defined, formalized model for software development that is based on a couple of principles that are quite interesting. I'm going to only very briefly explain what happened. In the 1990s, software development and the IT world was kind of a mess. Everybody was trying to get projects better described and better requirements and all that, but the reality of the time was that projects were overdue, they were too late, they were over budget, so they ran out of cost. They were producing a high volume of bugs and problems, low quality, and IT was not really what the customer needed. In best case, it was agreed on what you know at the start of a project when you know the least. So the problems of IT were basically saying it's too expensive, it takes too long, it's crappy quality, and it's not what we need. The world was at a place where software developers and teams were working their butts off to really get good quality software out, and the results were basically, well, not satisfying. So they were banged on their head by people who were saying, no, this is not what we need, it's crappy, etc. These effects led to a range of solutions that were tried. And in 1994, Jeff Sutherland and Ken Schwaber came up with Scrum. And Scrum was founded on a couple of simple things that said, well, what if we don't try to implement all the requirements at the start and define all the requirements up front? What if we learn and use a more empirical approach to software development rather than a plan-driven, long cycle approach that we now have? So the concept of Scrum is real simple. What if we build a list of the things we think we need and we prioritize that list? And the most wanted things we go to do first. And we want some feedback. So this is actually pulled into, in a lean way, a cycle of development. And during that cycle, a team will try to build that and really show actual working stuff. So now you have a system that says, okay, here's a list of stuff we need, or think we need. This is the most important thing, so it might be the best to start with. Build me that, show me that, we learn something, and we'll do it again. This empirical approach to software development is now known as Scrum. And Scrum is a model that says, okay, let's make a list, commit to something, plan. So plan or promise something. So there's a promise of what we're going to do in the next coming 2 weeks. And after the 2 weeks, we'll show you. We'll have proof. And this promise-proof cycle of 2 weeks is called a sprint. And during a sprint, we'll work together as a team, as a Scrum team. People can actually do this, and we'll test, analyze, design, do anything we need to actually get a product done at the end of these 2 weeks. That would mean that a customer would get every 2 weeks a living sample, a living increment, a potentially shippable product that he can test, feel, touch, smell, and look at and say, no or yes, it's not exactly what I need. I want you to do it a little bit different. So that idea of cyclic or iterative development is actually revolutionized by Scrum. There's a number of formal roles and responsibilities to this, but the foundational element is that you say, here's a backlog, a product backlog of things I think I need, pull something out of it in a very lean way, based on your capacity as a multidisciplinary team of testers, developers, analysts, and designers, build me something in 2 weeks that I can see, that you can show me. So I can give you feedback on whether you understand what I need, on whether I still need what I thought I need. These assumptions then all of a sudden become more flexible to reality by learning how to build it and learning what you need. This cycle is then ended every single time with a little retrospective to reflect on how we did the cycle and what can we improve to get it even better. This is the continuous improvement cycle built into the model. If you look at Scrum from that perspective, it's a promise, execute, proof, demonstrate, retrospective cycle. And then there's the infamous daily stand-up inside that kind of keeps the team to communicate and collaborate on a daily basis. So that was a stolen practice from one of the great teams in history where Jeff and Ken basically stole that idea and said, this is something good the teams can use to have a better understanding of what everybody is doing. So, this is a small team of 7 plus or minus 2 people working together every 2 weeks in a sprint show something that they have promised and prove that it can actually be done. That way the teams learns how much you can do, the customer learns what it means to get it and what he likes about it and what he doesn't like about it. And he'll get some idea about what it means to get the whole product. If you start to build increment after increment after increment, you have a continuous improvement flowing system that respects the people because they have full autonomy within the 2 weeks to do whatever it takes to get this thing done. So in that way, it's a fully lean system if you look at Scrum at its foundational core.